Bienvenidos a todos. Welcome to the Spring Showcase. Me llamo Daniel Villalpando con mi co-host Michael Washington. Este es el Spring Showcase del Shady Sports Network. Gracias a todos por el periodo aquí en este lado esta noche. Gracias por todo. Aquí puedes ver los últimos highlights de los LFA, el Liga de Fútbol Americano aquí en México. Gracias por todos y gracias por todos apoyarnos a este show. Y claro que nosotros queremos a todos aquí. Gracias, mucho, mucho hermoso.
And welcome to the Spring Showcase. I'm Michael Washington, of course. My co-host Daniel Villalpando is with me this week. Last week we had see, I told you I'm working on it.
Yeah,
Last week we had a little hiccup. We didn't have a show. We're here this week to come back, and we're going to cover Week 3 action of the LFA down in the Mexican Professional Americano Football League down there. First, there was a triple header on Saturday. The Raptors beat the Greyhounds 14-6. The Mexicas, beat the Reyes. I said Greyhounds. That's the English version. It was Galcos. Sorry, beat the Reyes 34-20. And Galos Negros lost to the Fundadores 7-28 to round out the Saturday action. Sunday, it was the Jefes and the Dinos, and the Jefes lost that game 7-6, and that rounded out the 4 games for Week 3. Let's start, Daniel. First of all, Daniel, how you feeling? I know you had a little bit of a rough last week and couldn't make the show, so I'm glad that you're at least safe and looking healthy.
Of course, I appreciate it. I'm feeling great. With little ones, life is very unpredictable. Little one's doing great. Everyone's doing good. I just realized how bright my pink is today, so kind of caught me off guard here. But yeah, I mean, weather's doing good over here in Texas. A lot of good noise we're hearing from the LFA people, and so we're kind of excited, man.
Yeah, for sure. And this weekend was a lot of fun action. I mean, we'll start off with the Raptors in Galcos. The game was 14-6. We kind of opened with a low scoring game. We closed with a low scoring game for the most part.
Yeah.
But what was impressive about this game to me was the Raptors kind of controlled the game from the start. It was more of a defensive battle than I expected, considering how bad the Galcos have played in comparison to where the Raptors were. And the Raptors defense didn't look that great the week before. They gave up 33 to Reyes. So how did you feel about this game? Were you a little bit surprised by the defenses as well as I was in this game?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was about to harp on, right? And I mean, we thought these two teams were kind of going to go in different, I guess you could say, in different paths. But this game really showed how just unique these teams are. It's a lot of times we like to harp on what happened last year. It's like, okay, but now we're starting to get into that time of the season where teams start to shape, right? Their philosophies start to form, and we're seeing it. And you said it right, perfect. I mean, the defense was something huge. It's showing that what one team does next week, these coaching staffs are starting to adapt. And the fact that it was a low-scoring game, I predicted it was going to be a very, very I don't want to say blowouts, but a very big game for the Raptors, and it ended up being the complete opposite. Yes, they won. They controlled it, like you said, but I expected something way more explosive on their side.
Yeah, and I think the thing that has kind of we're starting to see here when it comes to at least the Galcos side of things, they're really struggling with Trayvon Boykin under center, and I don't know if it's necessarily a Boykin issue or if it's just the surrounding talent. But whatever the reason is, this offense has been pretty well dreadful since the start of the season. Their first game, they scored 6 points. Their second game, they scored 3 points. And then they scored 6 again this week in Week 3. So they haven't cracked double digits once yet. And the defense is getting worn down. There's no way for them to be able to contain and be strong enough to win these games. Is there a possible QB change on the horizon for this team in the near future? Because it's clearly not getting done with Boykin.
Yeah, I mean, I know that would be the feasible option. I know a lot of people would like to see that. My thing is you invest so much in these import players, right? Import players being the Americans that come in to play. You don't want to see what normally happens, which is in the LFA, a lot of times you'll see, change of the guard in the coaching staff, the OC, the play calling system. But I think you said it great, and it's one player really showing his athletic ability, and it feels like the rest of the team usually they'll live up to who that person is. Right now, there seems to be a disconnect, and you see it a lot on little misreads. Right, the RPO game isn't really there. The
Right.
screen game, the run game, it's just the strengths of Boykin is not really being shown, and I don't know if it's a coaching staff thing or, like you said, the other side. So maybe a changing of the guard is needed, but there's a lot of investment in that quarterback.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it seem like it's all on Trayvon because I mean, clearly,
Correct.
there's only so much that you can do. It's a team sport across the board, but the quarterback position is usually looked at. I mean, you're averaging 5 points a game.
Yeah.
As a team over the course of the first 3 weeks, like something is not working, and eventually it falls on the quarterback. Now, is it possible we could see in-season coaching changes?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be the most common thing you're going to see as people start kind of paying attention to the LFA. It's not as active as far as in the NFL where you'll hear about it and you'll know about it. This is more of a behind the scenes thing, and it's kind of unfortunate. There is some nice analysts out there. I know, Shade Sports, right? I mean, they do a good job of really keeping attention to it, but you're going to see that a lot more often. The OC changes is different. Some of these guys aren't full time coaches, full time OCs. So it may be sometimes that's going to be the first step. And if that doesn't work well, we unfortunately see the other side of it. And we'll see if that investment pays off.
Now, I will say the Raptors are 2-1 on the flip side of this, the other side of the
Yes.
field in this game. They 2-1, and they're one of only two teams that have national quarterback play.
Yeah.
Johan Guerrero,
Mm-hmm.
Guerrero, right? Yeah,
Yeah. Perfect.
is the quarterback there, and his numbers aren't exactly gaudy. Like they're not over the top, slap you in the face, but they're pretty efficient for what we're seeing from him. He's 44-71. He's 61.97% efficiency. He has 3 touchdowns on the year, and
Yep.
looks like no interceptions. So, I mean, they're not over the top gaudy numbers and whatnot, but he's getting it done. And to be honest with you, it's in comparison to the experience and the
Yeah.
training and coming up, it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty impressive what we're seeing from him with a 2-1 team.
Yeah. There's a lot of pride with the Mexican athletes. There's a ton. If you really see that, they're always cheering, they're always yelling run, they're always yelling pass. When you have a leader at the helm, which is usually your quarterback, and he's a national player, they're going to rally around him. The team will rally around him. And you said it, he's doing enough. That's all you need. Sometimes those game managers, they win games, and winning games
Mm.
is what you need to do. So Guerrero's doing a great job of it. He's really showing exactly what he's supposed to do, and that's exactly how he's supposed to act. And the good thing is, you see him pick up his teammates, you see him getting to the sideline, talking to his guys, clapping them up. That's a true leader, and he's doing enough. And so far, enough is 2-1.
And the thing about it is that was really impressive to me with him was especially watching this game with Galacos because it was such a defensive battle
Yeah,
was the QB mechanics behind him. Wherever he's getting his training or whoever he is working with, the mechanics are slowly coming along. I mean, there's still some mistakes as far as like when we say mistakes, like it could be something as simple as not putting enough drive from his leg to his
correct.
arm, whatever it may be. Simple stuff, technique issues, and footwork. But overall, I'm really impressed with the amount of you know progression I'm seeing
Yeah,
over the course of the
yeah,
first 3 weeks. And if he continues to do this, this Raptors team may be a little bit of a surprise team here down the stretch. Because this defense has obviously been well enough. We know the dominance in week 1. Week 2, they still scored 17 points against a Reyes team that came off a loss to Galcos Negros. So, now that with another victory over Galcos, they're putting themselves in position to maybe make a late push here.
yeah, and that's it exactly. Is when you're the quarterback, you have to make sure you're always getting better. You have to. This isn't a video game where it's like, oh well, next year they're just going to improve. They're going to go high up in their overall. This is real ball, real football, real professional athletes. So you said it. I mean, his mechanics and his leadership things and the intangibles, the things you can't coach, are showing. They're sticking out. But the things you can, his throwing motion, his plan, the way he drives, it's starting to stick out. And more of that is, I'm sure, the confidence within himself is starting to build. And a confident quarterback's a scary quarterback, so that's a great thing.
Yeah, and like I said, his numbers aren't sticking out right now. They're not gaudy over the top, but they are
Yeah,
impressive enough that this team is winning, and that's really all that matters. The
yeah,
last thing I will say about these two teams is that Galcos is on a bye week next week, and I think it came at a good time for them to try to regroup and maybe hopefully come out of the bye week for week 5 and
yeah.
and, and
Much needed,
focus forward. Focus forward. The
definitely.
second game of the triple header was the Mexicas against the Reyes. Mexicas won 34-20. Man, this Mexicas team looks like they may have a championship caliber team right here.
Yeah, yeah,
Between defense, that run game with Tim Whitfield, I mean, like Shady has been beaming about him because he's an indoor,
yep,
he's an indoor guy who's playing outdoors now, and he's lighting up the league.
yeah.
They got the best run blocking offensive line in football,
Big time,
at
big
least in the
time.
LFA down there.
No, absolutely. And I mean, you said it right, man. Shady's been talking about it, and we say it. You guys have been harping greatly, which is he belongs outdoors. He's an outdoor
Mm.
guy. And I mean, he reads the block so well. Look, if you can control the clock and control the tempo, you're going to control the game. And right now, that's what they're doing. And it's the O line's nasty, man. They get in there, they get harped on it, and they get hyped up, and it's good seeing how well it is. And we said this in the first show, the first review show. If he stays healthy and that O line stays healthy, they're going to have a tremendous, tremendous amount of momentum going into those playoffs. Hoping that they continue this win season, right?
Well, I mean, let's talk about this for a second. They're averaging 35 points a game.
Yeah.
Week
Yeah.
Week 1 they scored 35. Week 2 they scored 36. Week 3 they scored 34. I mean,
with a run first offense too.
Right, with a run first offense. And I'm not a super intelligent person. I think I'm pretty smart, but I'm not super intelligent.
Definitely
But
smart.
but I believe that there is still 3 numbers north of 36 and there's 3 numbers south of 34
Yeah.
that they can hit, and they'll just cover all of the 30s within the next,
Yeah.
6 weeks. Might as well go for it, right?
Yeah, you might as well go big or go home. I mean, that's an impressive average. It's a lot of times coaches want you. Yeah, they want you over, get 3 touchdowns, get 21 points. Our defense will hold up. I mean, you're talking about averaging 30 plus a game with a heavy run load. That's awesome seeing that.
And Kenya Allen is currently leading the league in passing yards. He has 630 yards passing on the year. He has 7 touchdowns and no interceptions.
Exactly.
No
big
fumbles.
Key word right there.
And he's only been sacked 1 time.
Yep.
So on the opposite end of what we were talking about what we were talking about the run blocking, it looks like their offensive line in the pass blocking game is also of extremely high level as well. And Kenyet's playing balls out right now. I mean, let's be honest. He's lighting this up right now.
Exactly. I mean, look, when you have a successful run game, that's a quarterback's best friend, besides, of course, a 6'6" receiver that runs a 4.3, right? But, I mean,
right.
If you're just dominating the run game, it makes life easier for you. And if you dictate the game time, the defense doesn't know what's coming. And we're seeing it. No turnovers, hopefully we don't jinx them, right? But he's playing exactly like you said, man. He's lighting up the scoreboard. He's doing a great thing, and it's impressive.
Shout out to Rob Carlton. He said, "Let's go, Kenya." I'm glad that you joined us, Rob. I always love having your comments. You're very active. Appreciate you chiming in here at the LFA. We talk about the Mexican highest level of American football.
Absolutely.
Here on JD Sports Network Spring Showcase with Danielle Villalpando, who is my co-host here as well. So on the flip side of this, Reyes, they've been in some. They're 1-2, which was I think a little bit of a surprise for some of us. I don't think anybody really expected them to lose to Carlos Negros in the opener. But they have scored points. I mean, they 24-33, and they put up 20 against Mexico. So they're scoring points. It just feels like this defense hasn't caught its stride yet.
Yeah, they're that team that we've been noticing that is on the brink, always on the brink, right? And they're either going to get over the hump or they're going to slowly roll backwards. And they had a great opportunity this last game. I mean, you look at the box score. They gave up those crucial 13 points in the fourth quarter. That's huge. That's massive. A fourth quarter to give up 13. The score was 34-20. I'm no mathematician, right? But I mean, it was a 1-point game going into the fourth. So that's a tough one, right? I mean, it's tough to see, but that's that hump. They need to finish. If they're able to finish games and they can help their defense, which their offense wants to do that, I think they're going to have a great opportunity. But like we said, they got to get over that hump.
I will say they did switch from Raul Reyes from week 1. Matthew Vitelli got to start week 2. Matthew Vitelli got to start week 3. This offense doesn't look like it's missed a stride, no matter whether it's Raul or him or Matthew Vitelli starting. It feels like this game is a picture perfect reason, or a picture perfect painting of how good Mexica's is, especially because of the run game, wearing that Reyes defense down in the fourth quarter to allow to open up that game. Because like you said, it was 21-20. It was a very close game heading into that fourth quarter, but I feel like that's when the constant pounding of the offensive line with the run game, Tim Whitfield, a heavy dose of it, just caused the separation, mainly.
Yeah, of course. And it's demoralizing, right? I mean, it's a 1-point game, and you're getting beat up, and you're going to the fourth, and obviously that one touchdown, you could see, right? If you look back, and I really hope people do, you look back on the highlights after that run, that touchdown, a lot of heads hanging low, a lot of things. It's just an 8-point game right after that. But I mean, you see how much dejection a run game can help you with. And when a quarterback's as efficient as them, you see how much of a heartbreak it is. And that's the thing, man. I mean, whoever they're going to stick with, whether it's Reyes, my thing is you want to make sure that person's the leader, that person's their guy. And I think they're just right there to find out who it is. And we're gonna have to see going forward.
Yeah, I think Vitelli's got a good grasp on this offense right now. I think that's definitely going to be.
Yeah, it sure looks like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's going to be his job to lose, but I think that they probably have one of the. It's great to have a second quarterback that you can turn the reins over to if you need to. Yeah. And Raul proved that in week 1, even though they lost that game, that he's very capable of being that guy, which is awesome for a national player to have that opportunity and showcase what he can do and actually go out and play very well like he did in week 1. So
yeah, he really, really did. He lit it up. Yeah. He lit it up. But I mean, you said it right. The wins and losses are the biggest thing.
Yeah, and it's good for Reyes to have that to fall back on if they need it for sure moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know. Long season.
Yep, for sure. And right now, Tim Whitfield, as we know, is leading the league in rushing. We will get to the league leaders, here after we go through the recap. The last game on Saturday was the Gallos Negros against the Fundadores, and Gallos Negros lost this game 7-28, or 28-7, whichever way you want to look at it. This is a team that last year won one game. They scored 27 week 1. They've only scored 21 combined in the last 2 weeks. Now the level of competition, as far as they played the Mexicas in week 2, and then they played the Fundadores here with Shelton Epler. I mean, Shelton Epler may be the best quarterback in the LFA. I mean, let's be honest. He's very close. Him and Kenyon Allen, they're probably going to be vying for possible LFA MVP. To be honest with you, if they keep playing like they're playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, two tough matchups back to back. The thing that I did like about the Gallos Negros in this game is, even though the score was a 3-point three score game, it was never really that wide open. They had kept it close. It was, I think, 14-0 at half. So it got away from them a little bit at the halftime, but they were moving the ball. It was just the drive stalled, and the secondary is kind of a weak point for Gallos Negros. I mean, you saw it with Randy Satterfield, in week 2 when he lit the secondary. So this was a you and me matchup. You got the better of me this time.
Yeah, no.
You got the better of me this time.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, we have to absolutely much love to the Fundadores, right? I mean, much love to Monterrey and everything that they have. It's you kind of hit it so perfectly. It's a bend, don't break. And the offense stalls, and those stalls for them is tough. And the Gallos Negros have a lot of talent, man. They have a lot of ability on that team. It's just tough to see, right? One touchdown given up in the first, game still around. One touchdown given up in the second, game still around. It's still there. But again, that fourth quarter, the beatdown eventually of a slow starting offense. The offense doesn't finish, penalties here and there. It's a killer. And with a team like Monterrey, right, the Fundidores, they're going to capitalize. And two back-to-back weeks of really good competition kind of shows that the Gallos Negros are on their way. It's just, man, I mean, which one are we going to get, right? I mean, which team are we going to get? And it's showing right there with that with this loss this week.
This is the tale of two quarterbacks that, Aaron Ellis has played really well, for Gallos Negros overall.
Yeah.
But he has 5 touchdowns with 1 interception, but he's only a 59.04% completion percentage, whereas Shelton Epler is 80.7%. I mean, and that's through 2 games.
Yeah.
I know Ellis is through 3, but that's still through 2 games, and he has 8 touchdowns compared to no interceptions, and he's thrown for over 500 yards through 2 games already, in comparison to the 486 for 3 for Ellis. So this is the one I think you could look at this game and kind of go, okay, Aaron Ellis is playing well for us. We are in games, but it's the difference between having an X factor and not having an X factor, in my opinion. Now, I know Ellis doesn't play secondary, so I can't blame him for that. But
he can't stop the ball. Yeah, I understand.
Right. You know what I mean? But it feels like that he's not comfortable for some reason back there.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Watching this game, you can see Epler does a great job of. He's definitely, and I mean, when you talk about having your hands in the offense, this man has the entire cookbook. You could tell he's maneuvering everything. And on the other side, you don't really get a lot of the audibles and the things of that, but it's because it's a tale of 2 OCs. And on Ellis's side, you could tell it's more of, hey, this is our offense, you're going to mold to it. With Epler and the Fundidores, it's definitely that he's controlling that, and that's what you're supposed to do with that type of quarterback. With someone that's your leader, your true X factor, like you said. Great point. I mean, we're seeing the results of it. The offense isn't so complicated. It's just what he likes, and I mean, 80%. That's awesome. But
it's incredible.
I mean, it's a result of it. It's insane to see, but it's a result of him being confident with that offense.
Yeah, it's something with the offensive coordinators too. It may just be the offensive coordinators, like you mentioned. Great point, by the way. That the offensive coordinators have different philosophies, different play calling abilities, and whatnot. And the Fundidores, may just be a little more of, more open to a more open style offense than the OC with Gallos Negros. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with these 2 teams. I don't think. The Gallos Negros are done. I don't think it's over for them. I think they're going to continue to improve as the year goes on, as long as they can become a cohesive unit. It's now up to Aaron, though, to rally and bring this team together, right? 2 losses against 2 of the top teams in the league. You got that out of the way. You lost. You were competitive in both games, at least, so you can hang your hat on something. Now it's time to go out and put the rest of the league on notice, right? That's the mind frame, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. A lot of times there's box score watchers, right? You're watching the box. Oh man, it was 28-7. Oh man, it was this and this. I get that, but you hit it perfect in the beginning. There was a fight. There was an actual dog fight going through the whole course. Yeah, they pull away and things, but that's what good teams are supposed to do. They'll pull away and they'll put you away. But I really hope that they can harper and they can really rally around Ellis and get together, because that's the biggest thing. If you can gather everybody together, you're going to have an opportunity. It sounds ugly, right? But it's just 2 losses, right? We're getting into this point where it's like, hey, who are we going to be, right? What show are we going to give out there? And I really hope they do rally around and you see it.
7 games left, or 10 weeks, or whatever it is, 10 games left. So, or 7 games left in the season. So, they can definitely turn this around and at least make anything over one win is an improvement. Like this
Absolutely.
This team only had 1 win last year. Right. Real quick before we go to the last game that happened on St. Patrick's Day, shout out to Krish. Trying to give a shout out to Tim and whatnot. Krish, I love you, but I don't know if Tim's paving the way for all of indoor players, because let's be honest, there's some that are just better suited to play indoor.
Yeah.
Their translation, their skill set doesn't translate outside the same way. But I understand what you mean. Love the passion, and thank you for tuning in as well. We love having you down there. Throwing up some hot takes, hot take Krish,
Amen.
hot
Yeah,
take
I was
Krish.
about to say hot take Chris is right. We're gonna have
All
to coin
right,
that one.
yeah. Though I mean, that's what I'm telling. I'm telling you, merch all day.
Oh yeah.
I could merch, man. That's what I'm talking about. Merch. Sell that stuff. Sell that
Get it
shit.
out there. Get it out there.
Get it
Chris will
out
buy
there.
one of his own shirts, I'm sure.
No, I'm sure he would. I'm sure he
Yeah.
would be like, look how much money I'm making. Yeah, it's like it's your own money, pal. But he wouldn't care. He'd still talk it up.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day, last game of the weekend, the fourth of the quadruple. The Jefes played the Dinos, and it was a low-scoring game, 7-6. Jefes has not been. I mean, I don't think they've been as bad as Galcos has been. Primarily because they haven't been, but they haven't been as good either. That's the second straight week where they've only scored 6 points. And they scored 12 the week before, so they have 24 points total through 3 weeks. That's higher than what Galcos has, but it's still not extremely impressive. They're averaging less than 10 points a game. The defense has been their strongest suit, but again, like Galcos, it's not translating to victories because the offense is struggling. What is it about this offense that you see that's causing them to not gain traction? Because I can't pinpoint any one thing. It feels like it's just a collective, cohesive unit.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it feels like there's. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. There's athletes, but you look at it and just little things as a coach, you kind of start looking at it and it's the cohesiveness, right? I mean, when things go wrong, you really do see separation. It just feels like this team isn't gelling too well, and I'm not sure where that would stand. I'm not in that locker room, unfortunately, but it's very hard to see a team that has the opportunity. I mean, they get there, they get to the doorstep, they just don't ring that doorbell. They don't enter, and for your defense to hold another team to 7 points, and unfortunately, you can't get there. Right? You're seeing that they just got to. I don't know what needs to change, but it's a tough thing to see. Their offense, and I hope people, again, I really hope people go back and watch. It's kind of like they've had 3 different game plans. Different game plans every single outcome.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're trying to throw stuff on the wall to see what sticks, but you got to have a philosophy. You got to have something that you harp on. And I really hope going forward that they find something that they think is going to be them and their identity, and they stick with it.
Well, and I think a lot of this is falling too much on Anthony Perkins as well.
It always will. Yeah, unfortunately.
They don't, well, and I don't mean it from a standpoint of like it's his fault. I mean from a standpoint is they're asking him to do too much, and he's not Josh Allen.
Yeah.
They don't have a rusher in the top 10 in the league as far as yardage wise is concerned. Meanwhile, Anthony Perkins is second in the league in yardage. He has 596 yards throwing, but he's only 60.22%, which is like the second lowest in the league amongst the top 10, amongst the top leaders. Which would actually put him second, which would put him 8th out of the 9 quarterbacks that are starting overall. So that's a problem in that sense. And he only has 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions. So they're asking him to do a ton, and it's not producing on the field or in the score box, and it's costing them games. Whereas the Dinos are on the complete opposite end of this. Like, they are just like, there's 9 starting quarterbacks in the league, and Eric Javier, I'm assuming it's De La Rosa,
perfect.
is ranked 10th in passing yards. So, Raul Reyes is still higher than him, and Reyes hasn't played for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Both these teams feel like they don't have an identity.
Correct.
Or their identity is, like you said, 3 different game plans over 3 weeks, or whatever it may be for both teams. It was kind of a hard game to watch, and you see the talent on the field, but then you're going, where's the results, right?
Yeah.
So
how do I say this without saying it? It's like watching an all-star game where players get together and they don't really have the cohesiveness, right? They don't really have the gel. So you're going to expect, miscommunication. You're going to expect this and this. This is a team that's practiced together. This is a team that's really had time to figure it out. And you watch it, and I'm speaking about the Dinos, right? And
Yeah.
it's more of an aspect of it's they're trying to figure out what it is, and I don't know if they don't have faith in who they have under the helm or their run game or their O line. But you said it. Watching this game, I don't know how much highlights you'd get from that game. Let's just say that, right? And
Right.
it's a tough one, but those are the typical games that you watch, and you're like, let's flip to something else and get back on. And we love football. We talk about it all the time, but that game was very difficult to watch in the sense of as a common fan, right? We're deep fans, but as a common
Mm.
fan, there wasn't a lot of stuff that we could see and be like, oh, okay, all right, man, that's their best player. This is their best play. It was just, it was definitely tough to watch. It was a tough watch, yeah.
Yeah. And shout out to Ryan McCarthy, Viva Futbol, Americano. I completely agree,
Amen, amen.
100% as well. Amen to that for sure. Thank you for tuning in, and my man, appreciate it. The Dinos though does have something that you know, um, uh, the Jefes don't, and that's Julio Cesar Elizondo. He's in the top 10 as far as the rushing is concerned. He's ran for 95 yards through 2 games. Both these teams have played. Um, you know, it's I don't know, man. Like it feels like both these teams are not playing at at their best level.
Yeah,
And AB Productions, shout out to you tuning in and giving us a comment. He says Hefe's offensive coach is a bad play caller, and that's very possibly could be part of that whole transition as well. I mean, like I said, they're averaging 24 points over 3 games. They're still averaging under 10 points a game, so it definitely could fall back on the coaching side and the play calling without having a legit game plan, because like you pointed out, it's like having 3 separate game plans in 3 games.
yeah, yeah.
So they're definitely going to have
It's
to get it together as well, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what you hope, right? I mean, we're right now on that on that cusp of you're either going to go downhill and it's going to be a tough season, or you're going to have to fight to make every single drive and game a dogfight. And if that's the case, it's like quicksand. You're waiting for things to go bad, and then when they do, they start going bad immediately. And I'm hoping they're not on that situation. I'm hoping that they can get something going. Both these teams, right? I mean, it's very evident right now where the top and where the other ones pretty much fall through.
Yeah. Shout out to Chris Mason for tuning in as well. Appreciate you as well, my man. AB Production says repeat play calls, and it's funny that
A
he says
lot.
that. Yeah, it's funny that he says that, because I don't know if you caught my comment or not in the in the chat.
Oh yeah.
But this was the game I was talking about, where it felt like that a lot of the calls that were being made, there was nothing being set up. It was just I'm going to throw it down the field. Like there
Yeah.
was nothing setting it up.
Oh
There was
yeah.
no, you know what I mean? Like I feel like the
Yeah.
best
Trying to
play
see if
callers,
something happens.
yeah, like the best offense. So you take a look at the Fundadors in that sense. Like they're trying to always set up their plays and try to get whatever they can. And I feel like that you're not getting that with the Hefes as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they have a bye week coming up. Hopefully, maybe they can get something to kind of change the overall dynamic of that offense, and we can start seeing some production from them
Yeah.
on that standpoint
Perfect timing.
as well, for sure. All right. Well, I'm just going to give a quick little rundown. I'm just going to name the top 5 quarterbacks, top 5 running backs, top 5 wide receivers in the league for the league leaders right now. Kenya Allen, to nobody's surprise, is leading the league in passing at 630 yards. Anthony Perkins is in second. I mentioned him at 596. Now, Jeremy Johnson, who plays for the Caludios.
Kyle Dios. Yep.
Caludios. Yes, okay, I got it. Was 560. They did not have a game this past weekend. Sheldon Epler in 2 games is at 506 and in 4th. And then Aaron Ellis, who we talked about, is in 5th right now at 486 as far as the passing yards concerned. Is there anything that's not there that's kind of a surprise to you? Because, I mean, after that, it's Boykin, Guerrero, Vitelli. Reyes is there at 9, but we know that he's not a starter. So then it would be
Yeah.
De La Rosa at the end. So is there any of that surprises to you, or is it just basically where you're at right now?
No, I mean Ellis, right? We spoke about it a little while ago. You had a great point, which was it's like they're not forcing, right? But it's like they're asking for a ton of it. Just the fact that Jeremy Johnson is top 3 and they didn't have a game is just ecstatic. I know his touchdown to interception ratio isn't the best, it isn't the prettiest, but that team's talented. So,
Yeah.
it's very interesting to see how this race is going to go. Because I know those American quarterbacks, they take a lot of pride in trying to have the best stats out there. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's head over to the rushers real quick. Tim Whitfield, we talked about him. He's at 366 yards rushing,
Yes,
leading the
sir.
league. He's averaging 8.7, I believe, or 8.5 yards per carry. Has 5 touchdowns on the year. It's incredible seeing what he's doing coming from the indoor game, playing outdoor. He definitely belongs for sure, and he's showing it.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on that real quick. I'm really glad that these leagues are around because these were not options years ago. Like a lot of people look back at Kurt Warner and they're like, oh, Kurt Warner this, Kurt Warner that, indoor, and it's like, yeah, but there wasn't very many options back when Kurt Warner played, and I guarantee that if Kurt Warner was able to play back then, they would have been outdoors somewhere, whether it's the LFA, the UFL, the ELF. If he was around, they would have he would have been somewhere over there for sure.
Yeah, tons of talent out
Jordan,
there. They deserve homes.
Oh yeah, for sure, and the LFA is showing that the talent's out there. I mean, without a doubt. Jordan Shippey's in second. He has 180 yards rushing on 35 carries. He has 1 touchdown. He with Reyes. Number 3 is Sali Ali the fourth. I hope I got that right. I really hope I didn't mess that up. But he's at 170 yards rushing, and he also plays for the Mexicas. So they got 2 in the top 3 to go to show that offensive line and how good that offensive line is in the run game.
Yep.
For not the Jefes, for the Mexicas. Mm-hmm. Number 4 is Kevin Correa Vizcan.
Yeah.
Vizcan?
Yep.
Vizcan? Okay. All right. See, I told you I'm working on it. 154 yards rushing for the Raptors. He's in 4th. And Dedrick Parson, who is a firecracker. 152 yards rushing, and he's with the Fundadores. And look, hey, I'm telling you, he is a firecracker. If that isn't his nickname, that needs to be his nickname because at any given point in time, that guy can set it off.
Explosive,
He's
man.
Fun to watch.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It's fun to watch him run the ball. Just get the ball in his hands and just let him have fun.
Absolutely. All right, Devin Hextall is the receiver who's leading the league at 274 yards. There's only 4 yards that separate the top 2, and there's only 12 yards that separate the top 3.
Yeah. So
that goes to tell you. Randy Satterfield is in second. That's the Reyes and Mexicas, respectively. He has 274 yards. He has 3 touchdowns on the year, all in one game against Galos Negros. Thanks. And then JJ Brania at 266. He has 4 touchdowns on the year. He is I don't know if I said that right. It might be Brania. 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 Yeah, he's the Galos Negros receiver who's actually pretty legit, man. Dude's nice. Malik Stanley's 4th at 204 yards. And then, Benjamin Stevens, who is at 188, and they play for the Caludillos and the Mexicas as well. Now, the thing that sticks out to me is the Mexicas. They have players. They have 2 runners, 2 wide receivers, both in the top 5. A top quarterback in the league. Like, this team is really, really well balanced, and it's going to be hard moving forward to. It's going to be a fun game between them and the Fundadores whenever they play. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Daniel, do you have anything you want to shout out and talk about real quick before we get into these predictions for week 4?
No,
do your segment. No, you don't got nothing this day. Okay. I mean, you opened the show, so.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I definitely do. As far as that is I really appreciate everyone that tunes in. I appreciate everyone that's helped us. When it comes into these next games, if you're going to watch a game, you need to watch the Mexicas Caudillos game. That game is going to be insane. I know I'm bouncing into that segment, but I'm pumped for that game. I am pumped for that game. That game is going to be really, really good football.
Well, let's actually just jump right into it then. 7 p.m. Their time. Mm-hmm. Central time? Central?
Correct.
Yes, Central. 7 p.m. Central Time, obviously on YouTube. You can catch it in the LFA. Go over there, subscribe, watch those games as well. The Caludillos takes on the Mexicas. I mean, this might be the game of the weekend. Looking at some of these games, but what's your predictions here? How's it going to go?
I'm actually gonna go.
I'm
gonna go Mexicas 21. Cadillos. I'm gonna go Cadillos 16. I think it's gonna give them their first loss in 2 years. That run game is different. It's super different. It's something that's scary, and I think they're going to control the tempo, and I think they're going to get after Jeremy Johnson, and I think it's going to be a totally different aspect. And I'm excited, man. I think the Mexicas are going to pull it through and finally set themselves as the clear-cut number one team.
I'm with you. I think the Mexicas is going to be the Caludillos here, but I think I'm gonna go a little bit higher in the scoring. I think they're going to hit the 30 mark again. I think they're going to. I think they're going to win this game 33-30. Though I expect this game to be more of a shootout than more of a defensive. Oh yeah, Jeremy Johnson, even though he has the turnover issues, is going to be the difference maker here. If he can limit the turnovers, they can win this game. But if he gives the Mexicas extra possessions, it's going to be over for them real quick. This game could potentially be a blowout even if he turns the ball over too much. Let's just be honest.
Absolutely agreed. I like that.
Because I think that Mexico's offense is going to be too much, and I don't know if the Caludillos defense is going to be there. But hey, they haven't lost a game in 2 years, so
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is the game.
They haven't lost a game in 2 years, so who knows? Maybe they'll still find a way to win. Because teams that win the Super Bowl. Ask the Chiefs.
Amen.
All right, at 8 p.m. Oh, this is on March 23rd, by the way. So these are the 2 Saturday games, right? Because that's
correct.
No. Saturday games, yes. 2 Saturday games.
Yeah, Saturday. Yes, sir.
At 8 p.m. Central Time, the Dinos takes on the Gallos Negros. I'm excited for this game. I think Gallos Negros can easily bounce back, go 2-2 coming out of this. If they can come out 2-2 out of the first 4 weeks and get the 2 toughest opponents out of the way back to back, I think that they are going to set themselves up nicely heading into their bye week in week 6, I believe. So I'm interested to see what happens here with the Dinos. What's your prediction?
I have them coming out of this as well. I have the Gallos Negros bouncing back. I think they're going to bounce back and fight through this. I think it's going to be another low-scoring game, but I think the fact that the Dinos are going to continue to struggle, it's going to show, and it's going to be evident. I have it 17. I have it 17-6. I think the field goals still happen for the Dinos. Don't get me wrong; they do a great job of getting there, but I think the Gallos Negros are just going to end up pulling away and really finishing the game in the fourth quarter. It's going to be close, but that fourth quarter again will be the Dinos' kryptonite.
Yeah, I think Gallos Negros wins this one. I think this game's going to be, probably 21 to 7. I'll give the Dinos a touchdown out of this. De La Rosa's they're going to have to figure out what to do with De La Rosa and figure out what to do with this offense, because if they score under 10 again, it's going to be very tough for them to rebound it all in any which way capacity. Even though they won last week, the likelihood of you playing the Jefes every week is not going to happen. So
correct.
On Sunday, March 24th at 12 p.m. Central Time, the Reyes takes on the Fundadores. This is a very, very, very interesting matchup. This probably would have been the game of the week last year. Falls just short this week. But what's your prediction? I know you're the Fundadores fan, so I'm sure you probably got a little bias here.
It's going to stick out, but I think the Fundadores give me a nice birthday gift on the 24th. I think they're going to pull it away. I think they're going to end up really showing 2 halves of football, and I think it's going to be 34-16. I'm going to give the Fundadores the win and an explosive fashion.
So your birthday's on Sunday?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Well, happy early birthday to you, Daniel. That's awesome.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank
you
so
problem.
Much.
I think Shelton Epler is going to get you a birthday present as well.
I think so.
Shelton Epler is look. I know how well we are seeing the quarterback play with Kenyon Allen and right now, but I think Shelton Epler is arguably the best quarterback in the league.
Oh yeah.
I think you can make a very argument. I think you can make a very good argument for sure.
Correct.
That he is the best quarterback in the league. So I think he continues on this rampant run. Reyes is searching for themselves right now. I think they're better than their record. I think they're better than their 1-2 record. I think that they could very potentially be, 2-1 going into this game. But I think the Fundadors is just too much. I think they're really well balanced, and Epler is playing lights out right now. So unless Reyes has a really good game plan to come in, I agree with you. I think this game is going to probably be like a 34 to 17 type of game, with Fundadors coming out on top. And the last game, 2 p.m. Central Time, Jefes and the Raptors, which is another interesting game here as well. I have my English translate for the website, so every time I see it, I have to hesitate for a second to make sure I know which one it says, because all it says is bosses, and I'm like, wait a second, which one's that one again? It's Jefes. So Jefes and the Raptors will close out the week 4 slate on Sunday afternoon. What's your takeaway from this game, or what potentially we could see here?
Man, I really want the Jefes to play like bosses. We want them to. We want them to start asserting their dominance. We want them to start coming out. They're the other team that is, you watch them play, you're trying to figure out what's going on, and I think the Raptors are going to capitalize on that. I think there's going to be a lot of turnovers. I don't want it to get ugly. I never want these games to get ugly, but I think it'll be a shutout. I think the Raptors will pull away. I think it'll be 24-0. I think the play calling is going to be very evident for the Jefes, and not in a positive way. And I think the Raptors are just going to close out the week with a really, really good win for them.
You know, one of the big things that we talked about earlier in the comments, AB Productions announced, that the bad play calling. He said, no, there's no creativity. And that's going to play into the Raptors' strength, which is this defense. But I also think this could be a good game for Johan Guerrero to get an opportunity and chance to kind of put things together for himself and continue to gain that confidence.
Yeah.
And I think that the Raptors are going to win this game. The Jefes are only averaging 8 points a game right now. It's not like it's stunning. Only Galco's average is less at 5. So it could be a shutout. I'm gonna give the Raptors a 20. We'll say 27-6 win. I think I want more for Jefes, but exactly. Until they actually get over 10, I don't think I can predict them to go over 10. So
correct.
I'm going to have to say 6, but 27-6. I don't think the game will be competitive after probably the first quarter, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think this is just the game that the Raptors need to really get everything going, get all the machine oiled up, and unfortunately for the Jefes, I think it's the game that they're going to see that things are just not right on that ship.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Daniel, do you have anything else you want to give a shout out to? Anybody around? Anything that you want to add to this? Because, the LFA is exciting football. You're starting to see the cream of the crop rise. There's only 9 teams, so it's very easy. You see the separation very early on. But I think there's some intriguing matchups, in there still. And it's going to be awesome to see what the playoff push looks like. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just want to give a thank you to everyone in Spanish. Gracias a todos por su apoyo. Gracias a todos por su amor. Gracias a todos por su support. El cosa más que para nosotros es que tenemos más ojos en la liga, ¿verdad? Tenemos más vida en todo el LFA. More life, more eyes, more heart. To give them an opportunity. Darles una oportunidad a ver todo. A ver los juegos, dale chance a todos, porque los jugadores mexicanos tienen orgullosos. They're prideful. They have a lot of pride in what they do, and I really, really would love the American community. We love football, man. It's American football. We take pride with it. Give them a chance, man. Give this game a chance. Trust me, it's. I know we've enjoyed it. Even if you watch highlights, tune into it. Go to their YouTube page. And really check it out, and trust me, it's going to be an amazing thing. Gracias a todos, and again, man, Shady Sports Network, man, make sure you guys go to their YouTube, give them a like and subscribe, and hit that bell.
Normally I don't do this, but I'm going to take a quick moment here also to just give a shout out to the Italian Football League, which I just found out streams on YouTube.
Yeah.
I happened to research this and find it the other day. If you can't get enough of football, there's more football being played. It's the Italian Football League. they're they're 3 to 4 weeks into their Division One. They have multiple divisions. You can search them up on YouTube. Just type in Italian Football League. You should be able to find it. It's the FIDAF, as well as what it's called, because it's the Federal International Americano Alliance of Football, I think, or something like that. So look it up if you get a chance. And like I said, normally I don't do this because this is an LFA show, but I always want to bring light to other leagues, because this is what is important for these players, to give them opportunities and outlets to play, because not everybody had the opportunity. Because I'll tell you what, I would have pushed harder had I known I had more options when I was a kid, to play harder and to make this something that I wanted to make it. So more light, more eyes, more heart, as Daniel said, to bring this to it. So the LFA, and if you wanted more football, the Italian Football League is also playing right now as well. Other than that, that's it till next week, week 4. Tune in on YouTube again. What is it? What is it? Just the LFA, right? Just the
LFA.mx.
Yeah, LFA.mx is the website. Also hit up on YouTube, hit that subscribe and like. Catch the games this weekend, man. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. As for us, Shady Sports Network, also hit us up on YouTube. Hit that like button, hit that little bell thing so you get the notifications. We're here normally Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. We had some things come up. We had to push back for a day. Thank you for tuning in, though. And next week, we'll be back on Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central for everybody out there. I'm Michael Washington. He's Daniel Villalpando. Until next week, guys.
Yes.